significance of this legacy, like probably around 15. I want to say 15 when it really set in, like when my grandma sat me down, talked to me. Like,
Diddy told her he was going to Biggie. She knew it was going to happen. She was purposefully not by her husband's side that night.
Biggie's son, CJ Wallace, has stirred up a storm with some surprising statements that have people looking twice at his mom, Faith Evans, and her longtime ties to Diddy. Word is, CJ's been dropping hints that Faith may have had a suspicious role in what happened to Biggie, and Diddy too. CJ supposedly believes Diddy wasn't completely innocent in all of it. CJ usually stays out of drama and keeps a low profile, but people close to him say he's never really accepted the official story about his dad's death. He's had doubts for years, especially about Diddy, thinking Biggie was surrounded by fake loyalty, even from people in his own circle. Then came the shocking twist with Stevie J. Remember when Faith suddenly married him in 2018? CJ had no idea it was coming. He found out just like everyone else on social media. And here's the kicker. Stevie J is actually CJ's godfather. Strange, right? But there's more. Stevie J wasn't just another guy in the music world. He had a close bond with Diddy back in the 90s and helped shape the bad boy sound. Rumors have been floating around for a while that Stevie might have been hiding another side of his life. Some say he was seen at Diddy's private parties, the kind people always talk about in whispers. And even when Diddy started facing trouble, Stevie didn't back off. When the feds raided Diddy's house last March, Stevie was reportedly living in one of his homes. Everything's starting to feel like a messy mix of secrets, loyalty shifts, and unanswered questions. Now CJ's speaking up, saying he feels let down, even by his own mother.
You have such a history with Diddy who's being honored. What is a moment that you look back from in the past and you're like, man, if you could have told us then we'd be at Christmas party, he was gonna be honored, like we would have been shook.
Faith Evans marrying someone from Diddy's close circle really hit a nerve. When CJ talks about Biggie being betrayed by people in his own home, it sounds like he's calling certain people out, just without naming them. But fans are starting to connect the dots quickly. And that's only the beginning. CJ himself has been caught in the middle of online gossip. For years, people have been talking about his sexuality, with some suggesting that being around Diddy and Stevie J may have influenced his personal struggles. It's all speculation and rumors, but it hasn't stopped people from talking. Now here's the big question. Was Faith pressured into marrying Stevie J? Some think it was part of a bigger plan to keep her silent. There's talk that Diddy may have been pulling strings from behind the scenes, making sure Faith wouldn't reveal anything about what really happened to Biggie. Some even think she could have been blackmailed, or that maybe she was always playing both sides. Even tenser when you look at CJ's recent behavior. Word is he's been stepping back from his mom. People close to him say the distance started growing when the old rumors began making the rounds again.
Yeah, Little Big, Little Diddy, CJ, Christian, Little Diddy. We just out here doing what we do.
There's growing talk that Faith might have known a lot more about Biggie's death than she ever let on. Her silence is starting to look suspicious, and people online aren't brushing it off anymore. Some believe she was much closer to Diddy than anyone realized. Allegedly, she knew that night wasn't just some unfortunate coincidence. Biggie never even wanted to be in LA. He felt things were getting risky after Pac's death, but he still ended up there and never came back. Here's where it gets even more intense. People say Diddy kept pressuring Biggie to head out to LA, even though Biggie had doubts. Jaguar Wright even claimed that Diddy told Faith straight up that Biggie wasn't going to make it back. That's not just suspicious. It's terrifying. Faith's long connection to Diddy, followed by her marriage to Stevie J, another one of Diddy's close allies, makes the situation feel even stranger. And despite all the serious accusations Diddy's facing now, Faith hasn't said a single thing against him. That silence is starting to speak volumes. Fans have noticed the distance too. CJ hasn't posted anything about his mom in years. No birthday wishes. No old photos. Not everything he shares about her is vague, almost like he's intentionally keeping things distant. And then there's Stevie. Jaguar Wright had something specific to say about him too.
Some blogs are kind of said some mean things about your son and tried to say that he was gay. How do you feel about that? Because I think it's rude, and people just insensitive in these blogs just talk so about it. Do you have any response to that?
No, I don't really feel a way about it. We know where he is. If he was, I would support him and love him just as.
Faith and Stevie as a couple always felt off. Just like her relationship with Biggie never quite made sense either. Even Faith admitted in her book that she and Biggie weren't really in a solid relationship, and that he was allegedly cheating the entire time. Jaguar Wright took it even further, claiming that Faith was basically used by Diddy to get close to both Pac and Biggie, only for both of them to end up gone. while Diddy kept profiting from Biggie's legacy. That's a serious accusation. But when you look at all the links, it's hard not to question things. Here's a little-known fact. Faith actually moved to LA back in 1993 and started doing backup vocals for R&B artist Al B. Sure, so she already had strong industry ties long before all the drama kicked off. Not long after she got to LA, she landed on Diddy's radar. He had her lay some background vocals in the studio, and just like that, after one session, he signed her immediately. Faith ended up becoming the first female artist on Bad Boy Records. But ever since that moment, people have been watching the situation with raised eyebrows.
I know my father is looking down on all of us tonight, in all of this love and support. My sister and I will continue to carry on his name with tremendous pride and live my life by his words. Give it up for CJ.
People started questioning what was really going on behind the scenes. In 1994, the same year Faith signed with Bad Boy, she met Biggie at a photo shoot. Just weeks later, they were married, and the speed of it all shocked everyone. At the same time, Faith was busy working in the studio. She was doing background vocals and co-writing on Mary J. Blige's My Life album, plus contributing to Usher's debut. Along with that, she was creating her own music too. By August 1995, her first album dropped, and it took off. Songs like You Used to Love Me and Soon as I Get Home became big hits, and the album went platinum with 1.5 million copies sold. But by 1996, even though she and Biggie had welcomed their son, CJ Wallace, things between them were already breaking down. Biggie was out running wild, hooking up with other women, including Lil' Kim. And according to rumors, Faith wasn't just sitting on the sidelines either.
Much different Faith life. Her whole life look, career look. Diddy told her he was gonna kill Biggie. She knew it was gonna happen. She was purposefully not by her husband's side that night. It happened, and she was told she had to lie about it.
Faith hit back by getting involved with Tupac, which pulled her right into the middle of the heated East Coast versus West Coast feud. That decision changed everything, and we all know how badly it ended. Both legends lost their lives far too early, and the truth behind it still hasn't come out. Tupac was shot on September 7, 1996 in a drive-by in Las Vegas. Then, just 6 months later, on March 9, 1997, Biggie was killed in Los Angeles. And after Biggie's death,
some of his associates, I still want to strangle them.
In a New York Times interview, Faith Evans opened up about Diddy's control during the Bad Boy era. She said he'd walk her to the tanning salon constantly, telling her she needed to look glamorous 24/7. Not management, more like control. But what really stood out was how fast Diddy pushed her to perform I'll Be Missing You after Biggie's funeral. Faith was still grieving, but Diddy kept pressing. She recalled, I didn't want to do anything, but he got me on the phone like, you ain't about to fuck up my thing. People were already questioning Diddy's motives, especially since he allegedly pushed Biggie to go to LA, even though the tension after Tupac's murder was high. Former Bad Boy exec Kirk Burrows claimed Biggie was supposed to fly to London, but Diddy convinced him to stay in LA. Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, expressed doubt too, saying in her memoir, I told Christopher not to trust Sean. In a 2020 interview, she admitted she still wishes she could strangle certain people in Biggie's circle. Despite her quiet doubts, Faith never fully distanced herself from Diddy. She kept working with him, praising him publicly at times. And then, in 2018, she suddenly married Stevie J.
You know, whatever someone does in their bedroom, that's what they do. I don't got nothing to do with that. I'm just here to say that I've never seen my man doing anything foul like they talking about. And then it's like with guys like 50, you know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Tom, cats like that. I just look at it as, you know, he wants to bring the black community down worse.
Faith Evans shocked everyone by secretly marrying Stevie J in Las Vegas. No announcements, no heads up to family or friends. TMZ broke the news, and even their kids were blindsided. Faith was supposed to be in LA prepping for London, and Stevie was filming Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta. But suddenly they were married. Biggie's son CJ, who's also Stevie's godson, was reportedly furious. Insiders said Stevie rushed the wedding before anyone could stop it. Classic manipulation, some claimed. It echoed Diddy's controlling ways. The marriage raised eyebrows, especially with old rumors about Stevie not being into women. Around the same time, the feds hit Diddy with a major indictment, and Stevie stood by him on TMZ, denying any shady business. He even called out 50 Cent for criticizing Diddy, which had people questioning if this was loyalty or a cover-up. Fans also started wondering how much influence Diddy and Stevie had over CJ Wallace.
Been in LA for a while, but I'm back. Chilling, kicking with the homies. Josh, bro.
It's Josh, brother.
Right back.
It's Lil D-Rock. It's Lil P.
Rudess.
Yeah. Yeah, but we having a good time, man. You know, look out for these kids, watch them on the rise. We just on the check-in, you know what I'm saying? I just want to show you how we doing it. And
Why did Faith let Diddy stay so close to CJ after Biggie died, especially knowing what we now know about Diddy's behind-the-scenes behavior? He stepped in like a father figure, but Faith was always nearby, part of that same circle. She had to hear whispers, right? Still, CJ spent time around Diddy, even when Faith and Diddy weren't tight. Now people are wondering, was Faith really protecting her son or just staying close to power to keep her career alive? And what about those old rumors? That she knew something about the plot against Biggie before it happened. Could that be true? Allegedly, of course. Was she just trying to survive in a dirty industry or playing along in something darker? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're into the real stories behind hip-hop's shadows. Hit that bell. This one's far from over.